Hi there and welcome. I'd like to share with you how I recently did a six-figure launch using only Facebook ads. So I launched a group coaching program. This was specific to holistic and alternative health practitioners like chiropractors, acupuncturists, naturopathic doctors. And my only way of getting clients into this program was using Facebook ads. So I want to give you an overview of how I did this. I think this will be very insightful for you if you are interested in doing your own product or program launch. I'm going to share a lot of different insights and tips for you that you'll definitely want to take note of in this video. Just FYI, my name is Kevin Doherty. You can find me at facebook.com/Kevin Doherty online, Doherty. And let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to give you an overview of a recent six-figure launch I did using just Facebook ads. I did not use joint venture partners or affiliates for this launch. I did little social media marketing and none outside of Facebook. And I have a team of two virtual assistants and one coach that works with me. So this was really about as simple as you can possibly make it, which is why I really enjoyed this launch and I'm really thrilled to have this model in place because I don't know about you, but I'm personally not that excited about having a team of affiliates or joint venture partners that I have to manage to do my launches where they're going to go out there and promote my stuff for me. And I know a lot of people do this, and I have, really nothing against that model per se. It's just not really my thing. And I think for a lot of people that don't really like managing groups of people, that's the case. So if that's you, this model that I'm going to lay out is a lot more simple. And the more people you have to manage in terms of either assistants or team members or joint venture partners, the more complicated, the more cumbersome, in my opinion, everything becomes. So that's one big reason why I've never really resonated with the joint venture model. I've always been striving for simplicity in my business, and I found that the more people that I kind of take on and get them to promote my stuff, it just starts to feel like it actually drains me a little bit. So it's not really my thing. It may be yours, but I think we can definitely get you amazing results with just using Facebook ads. Now, I didn't use any social media marketing outside of Facebook, so there was no Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, no other social sites. This was all done within Facebook. And when I say I did little social media marketing, I'm talking about, man, I mean, I had like maybe 5 posts that I posted on my fan page that I boosted to my audience aside from the actual launch content that I did. And then I also have a Facebook group that I manage as well with my coach who also posts content in there. So I definitely was posting in there like once a day or something, but I mean, that literally took me like 2 minutes at the most. So I'm not a huge fan of just spending a lot of time like managing social media and posting. I think a lot of that is pretty low leverage activity, and you're way better off just learning how to run ads the right way. It'll free you up in your life and be way more effective. And yeah, the power of this model is in the simplicity. You don't need a huge team of people. I have two amazing assistants and another coach. It's a small team. I don't have to manage salespeople to do this, which I love. And it's all very elegant, very streamlined, very simple. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so let me give you a quick overview of some of the tools I use to do this launch. I use Infusionsoft for my shopping cart and email marketing, and there are many other, obviously many shopping carts out there you can choose from. Ontraport, Samcart. I don't know a lot about some of these other systems. They all seem fairly similar to me, but I love Infusionsoft, especially for doing launches. It's one of the go-to systems out there. There's no doubt about that. I use Lead Pages. You've probably heard of that. That's a service that allows you to set up templates for your opt-in forms, your registration pages, your sales pages, webinar replay pages, things like this. So I did all of the setup of my opt-in pages and email marketing integration myself. I find that stuff to be actually very non-technical and easy if you're using Lead Pages. I also use Thrive Themes. That's optional. You certainly do not need both of these. They kind of do the same thing. But I actually built the sales page for this launch in Thrive Themes myself. And funny story, I actually tried to hire a graphic person off of Fiverr to do the sales page. They were really late on the project, and then when they sent me over the rough draft, I was like, oh my gosh, this thing just does not look very good. So in kind of a haste, I built the whole sales page myself in Thrive Themes. So even doing like a six-figure launch, pretty high volume, high numbers, you can really do a lot of this yourself. Or yeah, you can totally outsource some of it too. But I like having control over the opt-in pages and to some extent the sales page too. I use my iPhone to do Facebook live streams, and I use Camtasia, which is what I'm using now as a screen capture software to do online videos. I definitely did a few of those for this launch. Okay, so that was all I did for the tools. The total ad spend for this launch, $19,011.32, and then the revenue I made off this launch, $94,950 up front. The total recurring revenue will be $115,292 with the payment options that we had. The vast majority of people paid up front, but we did have a few people on payment options, but those don't extend beyond 3 months. So the odds of people kind of bailing on their payment plans, I'm pretty comfortable with that because the longer you go, like beyond 3 months, definitely the more the odds are that people are going to start to drop the ball when it comes to paying you for their monthly payments. So this may go down a touch from 115 to maybe 112, 113 if we take into account refunds or people that bail on payment plans. It may go down a little more than that, but it's going to be right in the 111 to 114 range, I would assume, based on previous launches that I've done, which I'm really happy with. So anytime you can run Facebook ads and kind of 5 times your ad spend like this, that is a winner. And if you take into account what I did here, there are a couple of things right up front that stand out. First of all, I was willing to spend quite a bit of money on ads, and that was actually a big wake-up call for me. And I think one of the big mistakes that I made in previous launches is I honestly just did not spend enough money getting in front of people, and I wasn't aggressive enough about the visibility. Or the engagement, or taking people to the sales page. So you have to be willing to spend a decent amount of money on your ads to get a really amazing return on your investment, like up to 6 figures. Now, you don't want to do that in a reckless way, of course. So there is a way in this launch process. You put a little money into it, you kind of test the waters, you have some very predictable markers and metrics in place to determine what's going to happen. You make a little upfront revenue from the initial launch, and then you dump more money back into your ads. And that's essentially what I did. So I wasn't just, blindly putting 19 grand into this right out of the gates. I was very strategic about my whole process in terms of how much I wanted to spend. Now, what I had in mind going into this launch was I was willing to spend up to $25,000 to make $100,000. So you can see I came out quite a bit ahead of my projected numbers and goals, and I was thrilled about that. And it was funny because one of the challenges I came up against in this launch is I wanted to actually spend more money, and I felt like sometimes I couldn't because of the size of my audience. So that can be a constraint sometimes, but yeah, I'm going to talk about some solutions I came up with and some workarounds as well. But overall, I was thrilled with this launch. Not only did it generate 6 figures, but we have a really high quality group established for this launch. So the program that I offered was a 8-week program for holistic practitioners at $997 with a couple of payment options, and it basically brings them into a Facebook group. They get online video modules, a private members area, and you know what? I should have mentioned this in the tools section here. I use the wish list plugin for my members area as well, so we can add that to this list. Okay, sorry I forgot to mention that, but that's like a $97 paid wish list plugin that gives you a secure members area for people that buy your program. So I did use that as well. But yeah, overall, I was really, really excited for this launch. It was an awesome process and really cool clients that I get to work with, and every day I feel like I kind of pinch myself that I get to do this kind of work. I'm just elated by, the quality of people signing up. And yeah, I mean, the potential in this model with the launch is incredible because, I mean, where else in a coaching or consulting business, can you make six figures in 7 to 10 days? And that's really what this launch did. It's a very concentrated way to make incredible amounts of revenue for your business if you do it the right way and if you have the right mindset. So you should have seen a free report that kind of accompanies this video. Make sure you read that. It's short, but there's some powerful tips in there because your mindset going into something like this is definitely a key component of your success. And when I was preparing for this launch, so much of that was a mental, emotional, spiritual process for me as much as it was tactical and strategic. And I felt like the reason it was successful is because I had all my bases covered, where I was doing the inner work and getting very clear in my value, and I was seeing the end result as if it was already happening. I was definitely putting myself in the felt sense of having the success that I wanted. And I was doing that every single day as like a daily morning ritual. And yeah, really working, proactively with clearing fear and doubt. And of course, anytime you do something like this, you will hit obstacles, you will hit challenges. And sometimes those are just kind of inner demons that you have to face. And sometimes they're tactical kind of roadblocks that come up. You're like, how do I navigate through this one? So you're always going to have both ends of that spectrum. But yeah, in this launch, I was able to really overcome a lot of those hurdles quite successfully, which I was thrilled with. And I'd like to teach you guys how I did this. So let's keep moving forward. Okay, so a quick breakdown of the ad spend. I spent $9,700.07 on leads. I spent $1,967.64 on engagement, and $7,343.61 just taking people to my sales page. Now, this is a really important breakdown for you to absorb because I think a lot of us aren't quite clear how this actually works with Facebook ads. And this is a really simple way to organize in your mind how you need to budget and prioritize. A lot of what you're doing, of course, is generating front-end leads, getting people on your email list so you have a network of people that you can promote your product or program to. So that was where the bulk of my money went. But then a fair amount of it definitely went into engagement. And this is where we're taking people back to my live stream replays. We're taking them back to pieces of content on Facebook to warm them up and build trust and rapport and get them connected with what I'm doing and see that I'm a viable resource to help them, right? Now, looking back, I'm seeing this number here. I think I should have actually spent a little bit more on engagement because that looks a little bit low to me. And that's a huge component of this whole puzzle, is warming people up and getting them to quickly see the value and build trust. And the way that we do that, I'm going to get into that, but we're gonna have to spend some money on that with Facebook. There's no way around it. And then the sales page, yeah, I was pretty aggressive, just hammering the sales page and getting people over to that page kind of relentlessly, because that's obviously where the rubber meets the road and where people are going to buy your program. So take these numbers into account. Because this is a really nice delineation to help you understand what needs to happen if you're running a launch using just Facebook ads. Okay, so I got a total of 4,168 leads during this launch, and I spent $2.38 per lead. So CPL is cost per lead. And my market for this launch was B2B, business to business. So that is a very, very good number for a cost per lead, $2.38. I was thrilled with that. I was going into this launch thinking I might have to spend $4 to $5 per lead. And I ended up spending under $3, which was really out of the park for me. That was one of the reasons why I feel like I really nailed this launch. I did, FYI, have another old email list that I did market to a little bit during this launch, but the vast majority of my sales came from this new lead list of the over 4,000 people here. These were people that were totally new to me. They have never heard of me before, and within a 7 to 10 day period, they're buying a $1,000 program. So that's definitely possible, and it's highly workable. You just have to have the right process in place, okay? All right. So to do that, to generate those leads, I used 3 different lead magnets. I used 2 free reports, and I used my first book in digital format. And this was a big part of my strategy. Is initially I just used a lead magnet that was teaching health practitioners how to get more referrals for their practice, which is a huge pain point for this audience. everybody in this market is frustrated with how many word of mouth referrals they get. So I knew that going in, that would be something that would be low hanging fruit for them. It would be easy to get them to download that and say, oh, okay, here's a solution to that problem, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about in a second. And then I had another one that was how to come up with new ideas for your blog. That worked out pretty well, not quite as cheap as the referral reports. And then the last thing that I tried, which was kind of a last ditch effort because I wanted to get a bunch more leads before I closed the cart, to have more people to market the program to, I used a digital copy, like a 244-page PDF file of my first book called The Purpose Principle. That is all about the kind of inclusion of spirituality into the healthcare context and how healthcare practitioners can, offer a deeper level of care that transcends just symptomatic relief. So I wove in a bunch of case studies and gave people a bunch of new insights in terms of how to do this. And that was really well received. That one actually got the cheapest leads. A lot of those were coming in at $1 to $2, which was great. So I was able to get a ton of new leads towards the end of the launch to get that many more people as part of my warm audience to market to, which was really cool. So cool. That's what I did for my my opt-in process, getting people onto my email list. I did not use front-end webinars. I did not use video case studies. What I find with Facebook ads, time and again, is that using free reports for me just tends to work the best in terms of the cost per lead. And yeah, I mean, the quality of the lead is going to be a little bit less than if they're opting in for a webinar or video. But I think it's my job and your job, if we get them in for a free report, that we nurture that relationship right away. And we set up what are called safety net ads. So when they opt in, we can engage them further using Facebook ads by getting them over to other forms of content. If you do that well, you can still run free report ads and get them in for very cheap into your marketing funnel, and then just engage them with further email marketing and Facebook ads, right? So that's essentially what I did. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the challenges of this launch. Every time you do a launch, I'm not going to romanticize this, there are going to be challenges. And, if it was easy to make 6 figures in 7 to 10 days, everybody would do it. And there's always going to be a barrier to entry to doing something like this. I've certainly, come up against that in my business. And in this launch, I had a few particular challenges. Number one, the audience size. My audience size on Facebook, in terms of my really targeted audience, it kind of maxes out around 500,000 people, I've noticed. And that's not terrible. I mean, it could be worse than that for sure, but it's certainly not as big as it could be. So I had to get a little creative in terms of how to aggressively market on Facebook with a relatively small audience. My solution was I used a lot of lookalike audiences, and I used the objective in the Facebook Ad Manager to create a lookalike audience based on my customer list. That was the big one that worked extremely well for me. So people that had already purchased a program or product from me, I uploaded that database to Facebook, and then I created a 2 million person lookalike audience based on that list. And I expanded my reach tremendously from using lookalikes effectively. And using multiple lead magnets. So even if you're marketing to a smaller audience, if you have multiple offerings for free to them, you'll definitely expand your reach, and it just diversifies your lead flow. So I definitely discovered that in this launch as well. If you're in a smaller market, have at least a couple different lead magnets that come at it from different angles, solve different pain points for your ideal client, and that can be tremendously helpful. The next big challenge, and I haven't really come up against this, but it's a potential barrier or obstacle in this market. You have desperate clients with unrealistic expectations. So a lot of these people, unfortunately, are kind of stuck in poverty mode, not willing to spend much money, and desperate to get clients in the door, kind of living, kind of right on the edge in life. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is in like the holistic health industry. There are just a lot of those kinds of folks out there, and I'm definitely on a mission to change that. But these aren't the kind of people we generally want to attract into a program, right? So if they're going to spend $1,000 and it's going to compromise their ability to pay rent or something, I really don't want those people signing up for my program. The solution was to make sure that my launch videos filter people out extremely well. So when I'm using launch videos and in that kind of pre-launch content, Yes, of course, I'm trying to build rapport and trust and position myself as an expert, but in the back of my mind, I'm always trying to manage unrealistic expectations and repel the people that I don't think are a good fit for what I'm talking about. So they're not going to be very attracted to what I'm offering. And as long as you have that in your awareness, I find it just works. You're speaking in a way that magnetically attracts the right people and filters out the ones that just aren't in a good place to receive what you have to offer. So your launch content should do that very well for you. And this is a very competitive market. I mean, that is definitely one of the big constraints. It's not only kind of a limited audience size, but you have a lot of big players in this space vying for business, right? So some big people in the launch space even going after holistic practitioners. So this goes to show you like whatever your market is, whether you're in personal development, high performance, success, business to business, getting more money or clients, whatever it is, you're probably going to face this as well. There's going to be a constraint either in your audience size or it's just going to be highly competitive, all right? And that's just part of the game we're playing. There's kind of no way around that on Facebook. So, what's the solution? Here's what I did using long copy ads that were a lot more content rich and full of useful information and stories that people could connect with. So, they really stood out in the newsfeed. That was a big part of my process in this launch. I also used really valuable lead magnets, and I consider the lead magnets to be almost like, it's like they're not separate from the actual paid program. They're almost like a taste, like an appetizer of what you get when you actually work with me. So in no way am I separating those out. It's like, look, if you like what I'm giving you here in this free lead magnet, you're going to love my actual paid program. There's no way around that, right? So the lead magnets were very useful, full of practical information. And then the free launch content itself clearly established my unique value. So I did a series of Facebook live streams in particular where I really went into some depth on my story, on what makes me unique, on why I'm uniquely able to help this market in a way that most consultants really can't. And I'm really clear on who my ideal client is. I like working with people that have a little bit more of a of a spiritual base and have a little bit more depth in what they're offering and want to market in a way that feels really genuine. They don't like cheesy stuff. They don't like traditional sales tactics. They really are sensitive to all that and they want to do it in a way that feels good to them. So I'm like that too, and I went into this launch like completely aware of that and knowing how to speak the language that my ideal client was looking for, and that's what made me stand out and get people to raise their hand and say, I want to learn more from this guy, even though there are dozens and maybe hundreds of competitors in this space, right? All right. So those were the big challenges that I had to overcome. An overview of my strategy. So first was generate leads. I just ran Facebook ads to basically saying, hey, here's a free report, how you can get more referrals in your practice, or get better ideas for your blog, and just get them on my email list. That was strategy number one, of course. And strategy number two is after they opted in, I invited them to join me for a series of 3 Facebook live stream videos. So I took 3 different topics that I felt like were top of mind concerns or areas of interest for my ideal client, and I structured the title and the whole premise of those live streams around that issue. So one was the state of private practice this year. Like, what is this year going to be like if you own a private practice? Because a lot of people have concerns about that. Another one was on how to double your revenue this year. Pretty straightforward. And then another one was actually how to get better results for your clients without burning yourself out. That's a huge issue of concern for a lot of people in this industry. So I took 3 big juicy topics and did about 45-minute live streams on each topic. And once again, my thought process was I want those live streams to be very similar to what they're actually going to get if they pay for my program. So it doesn't feel like it's disparate at all. It feels like just exactly what they're signing up for when they join me. So there's no surprises there. And when that happens, you're filtering that way. Yeah, it really minimizes refunds. It minimizes people that are going to be a problem in your program or feel like, oh, this isn't what I signed up for. And I've always had a very low refund rate in my programs because the pre-launch content is really strong like this. It's like I'm showing them very clearly what they're going to get if they pay, right? And there's no separation. It's completely congruent. Story sharing and insights. So after they opt into my email list, when I send them emails, and when I post on Facebook and run ads to them to engage with that content, I want everything that I'm saying to sound genuine, conversational, casual, mellow, like it's just me with a friend hanging out, sharing a little bit about myself and how I can help them out. And it doesn't sound salesy, it doesn't even sound like a business, it doesn't sound manufactured or artificial at all. And that is a skill that you develop in marketing, is this ability to be yourself, to be genuinely you, but still powerfully sell what you do because you are being you. A lot of people overdo this or they undersell. And those are the two big tendencies. And if you do one too much, your program probably isn't going to be as successful as you want it to be. People can feel your energy and they know if you're just trying to sell them on something or if it's kind of deceptive. And they also know if you're not that confident, if you're not really taking a stand on your value and you're not clear in the direct benefits that you can offer people. So you need to find that sweet spot when you share content with your audience that gets them to see like, okay, this is a real person here with genuine concerns and challenges, but they've had tremendous breakthroughs, and I think they can help me based on what they're talking about here, right? And then we take them to the sales page, and I'll show you here what the sales page looked like in just 1 second, because that's a whole story. That's a whole story into itself. But basically, I just get the lead, I warm them up with live stream videos, I share some stories and insights through email and Facebook ads, and then I bring them to the sales page. And that's what I did in this launch that worked extremely well. Now, one interesting point here is that in the normal launch process, what you've probably seen is that you take people to a series of 2 to 4 videos that are hosted on your own website. I decided to do these launch videos all using Facebook Livestream, just keeping it all within Facebook. And that was a little bit of a risk because I've never seen anybody do that, and I didn't know if it would work. But it actually worked extremely well, and that's something you can definitely test in your launch. And the reason is that the Facebook live stream process has a natural engagement built into it, right? Like people can like it, they can share it, they can comment, and you can run ads to those replays, and you can just keep it all within Facebook. And I found that worked really, really well for this launch. I was pleasantly surprised by that because I knew going in that was a little bit of a gamble. In previous launches, I've always just kept it on my own website with those videos, right? So I'll definitely be doing that again for all future launches as long as it continues to work. I think live stream right now is really, in a sense, replacing webinars. Not fully, but amazingly enough, in this launch, I did one webinar, which was just like a 30-minute Q&A for people that were kind of on the fence and didn't know if they wanted to sign up. So I got on the phone with a dozen people or on a webinar and just answered their questions for a few minutes. That was the only webinar I did. The rest was just Facebook live stream videos. I did a couple just video case studies using Camtasia, and that was it. Okay, so if you go to this page, you can look at the sales page. buildyourdreampractice.com/site/practice-on-fire. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this. You can check that out on your own. But it's good to see what like a 6-figure sales page looks like. And what you're going to see on there is a couple things. First of all, there's a lot on that page that worked very well. So you can see why the page converted well, which is great testimonials, good copy on the page, had kind of all the main elements that people need to see to make a buying decision. It was simple. It was to the point. The downside of that page is I built it myself. So I know the design could have been better, and I used Thrive Themes. I used a template to do it. So with the purple background, it wasn't even like that easy on the eye. The text didn't really come off that easy to read. So it could have been better, and this is always a takeaway is like even with successful launches, you can always look back and say, well, geez, I could have improved this and probably up my conversion quite a bit. But yeah, check out the page, and that'll give you a good kind of template to work off of in terms of what goes into a 6-figure sales page, okay? The main lessons I learned during this launch, which I think will help you out here too. Make sure the opt-in and the lead magnet that you're using directly solves a big pain point of your ideal client. This is so important, and I see a lot of people struggling with their opt-in, and their cost per lead is way too high, or they're having a difficult time even getting people to opt in. The reason that happens 100% of the time is because you're not messaging what you're doing in a way that people feel like you're solving a pain point. It has to just get into that nightmare pain point that they have and say, look, I got something here for you. It's going to solve this. And you can implement this quickly. In 10 minutes, we can get you feeling so much relief about this problem that you're having, right? So make sure that your opt-in is structured in that way. It's super practical, it's really tangible, and it really addresses that big pain point of your ideal client. So, a great example for a healthcare practitioner is, man, I know I do good work, but I don't get enough referrals. Well, why the heck aren't more people calling? Why aren't my patients or my clients telling more people about me? So I had a free lead magnet that totally solved that problem for them, right? Another one was, yeah, I know I should blog, Kevin, but what do I blog about? How do I know how to come up with good blog content or ideas? That's a big pain point for this audience as well. They oftentimes struggle with writer's block. They overthink things, make it too complicated. So I had a great lead magnet that just says, hey, here are like 21 blog post ideas that will crush it for you in your practice. So make sure that you're reverse engineering this before you actually create the lead magnet. Even if you're a great writer and everything flows wonderfully, if it's not solving a pain point for your ideal client, they're either not going to opt in or they will, but they're not going to buy your program because they're not making that connection of the value you can offer to overcome their pain and their displeasure in life and create more pleasure, more of what they really want, right? So your opt-in process really has to do that well to get cheap leads and to get people to buy. Sounds simple, but man, these things are overlooked all the time in what I see. Be willing to invest in engagement. So, like I mentioned earlier, I probably should have spent more on engagement ads. So those are the ads where I was sending people to the replay of my Facebook live streams and to a few like Facebook fan page posts that I boosted randomly that had just cool insights or a couple infographics that I thought would build rapport and just warm people up more. So definitely don't overlook that. You might even want to go as high as investing a third, maybe 25 to 33% of your budget in total to just engagement based ads, because that's really the bridge to getting those people to buy from you quickly. If you engage with them well, they're going to be way more likely to buy your program. If you just get them on your email list and you don't have an amazing follow-up sequence and awesome ads that you use from that point forward to nurture that connection, yeah, it's just a lot more difficult to get those sales coming in rapidly. And in a launch, everything happens in a very rapid, very intense, very concentrated fashion. And what speeds that up, what accelerates that is engagement, is using Facebook as an engagement medium and be willing to pay for that. Because Facebook is more or less a pay-to-play platform now. Facebook wants you paying for that engagement. You can't just throw up fan page posts anymore and expect all this wonderful organic reach. That would be awesome, but you got to pay for that now, and that's fine as long as it converts well and gets you good ROI in your program, right? Okay, Facebook ads are just as important as email marketing. That's what I noticed in this launch. And I'm sure you've seen this too. If you've done a fair amount of email marketing in the past, what you're seeing is that your email open rates are dropping and people aren't clicking as many links from the emails that are being opened. So you really need to use Facebook ads, what I would call like safety net ads, that do the same thing as your email marketing. You should really have both in place. You totally still want to use email, of course, but if you're getting 20% open rates or lower, and you're only getting a small percentage of those people opening to click through to your sales page or whatever you want to take them to, it's just not a high enough percentage of people to get you really excited about what you're doing. It can be really frustrating. So you have to have these safety net ads in there that more or less do the same thing. And sometimes what I was doing in this launch is I was taking the email that I was writing to my list, I would copy and paste it and just make a Facebook ad out of it and put a cool graphic with it. And I would run the ad to that same group of people, to people that opted into my email list, right? So I was covering it from both angles. constantly in this launch, sending them the emails regularly, but also running safety net ads on Facebook to make sure that those emails, that content is being engaged with, and that a good percentage of my leads were seeing my content out there, right? Um, you can get upset about having to pay for that. I understand that. But look at this all as a big picture numbers game. If it still works out where you can 5 times your ad investment, even if you have to pay for some engagement, please do it. Because you see in my example, it worked really, really well. You can warm people up and accelerate the buying cycle with the right combination of scarcity and value. And I think one of the biggest pitfalls in an online business is this assumption that it's going to take, 6 weeks to 6 months to get people to buy from you after they opt into your email list. I really think that's a problem, and I think you want to bypass that way of seeing it. So your goal is, when they opt into your email list, how quickly can you generate a sale out of that, honestly? And I think there's a lot of hype, honestly, about the importance of building this like relationship over a long time with your email subscribers. Sure, there's some importance in that. You want a community of people that value you and like what you're doing, but heck, if they don't buy from you, you're out of business. And the faster they buy, the more successful, the more your business is, the more momentum you're going to have. So really, you need to have a process in place that accelerates the initial exposure to the moment of making a purchase. And you do that through, this is the beauty of the launch model, is making limited time offers. Hey, this program's closing in 2 days. You got to get in now. That's why a launch crushes it. And honestly, the vast majority of my sales come in right at the tail end when people are forced to make a buying decision. But you also do it with value. If you have great content that solves their problems and makes them say like, holy crap, this guy's got some great stuff here, and they see that content in combination with this kind of urgency of like, I better get a move on here with making a decision, that is the combination that gets them to buy fast. So they can opt in, and within a couple of days, boom, they're going to drop $1,000 on your program because they love your content, it solves some of their pain points, and they're thinking in the back of their mind, hey, if I'm getting this for free, I must get just an incredible amount of value if I pay for this program, right? And and we accelerate all of that with scarcity. That's what a launch does and why it works so well. So another lesson that I learned, long copy ads that tell stories work amazingly well on Facebook. And I'm going to spend just a minute on this. I only had 2 negative comments on my ads the whole launch that I did, which is pretty amazing given the aggressive ad budget that I had. And I had a ton of likes and shares. And what that showed me was a lot of people were relating to my ads like they weren't really ads. And those are the ads that are going to work the best on Facebook, is when people read your ad and they see it and they think, this just looks like a normal Facebook post that I would normally like and share. It makes me feel good. It inspires me. It uplifts me. It empowers me. It informs me. It entertains me. It makes me feel good. If your ads accomplish that and they don't feel salesy or generic or like stock photo-ish, you're going to have so much more success in most markets like personal development, spirituality, even business to business. And that was a big lesson learned on this launch, is to make my ads incredibly natural, intuitive, organic, so when people see them, they don't feel like they're being sold to at all. And that's why the cost per lead was pretty low, because a lot of people were liking and sharing my ads, which was getting me a lot more free reach on Facebook, right? Ads filter and build rapport right from the start, right from the entry point, the initial context that people have seeing your information out there. In that ad copy itself, you're starting the process of attracting and repelling. You're repelling people that aren't a good fit, because that long copy story-based ad is either going to resonate with them and they're going to say, wow, this guy's cool, I want to learn more about this, or they're going to be like, I'm seeing this long ad, I don't think this is for me. And that's fine. We want to repel people that aren't a good fit like right away, because it saves us a lot of time and money, right? So you want to structure your ads in a way where you think of them as a filtration mechanism on Facebook. It's immediately creating this strong impression of attraction or repulsion. And it's meant to do one or the other very, very noticeably, okay, very starkly. And that's good marketing on Facebook. But overall, the general vibe, the general tone is very positive. It's uplifting. People feel good about it. And because they feel good about it, they don't feel like they're being sold to, your ad cost goes way down. And I use this approach even on ads that went to my sales page. So yeah, I'm taking them directly to the page where, I want them to buy my program. But even those ads, I spent a lot of thought, and I put a lot of thought into it, spent a lot of time crafting ads that were very personable, very natural, like having this mellow conversation with somebody that I felt like I could help. Empathizing, story sharing, uplifting, inspiring. That was the general tone of the ads that I was using. And it didn't feel salesy. And I know for a fact that's why people bought. That's why they liked it. And they felt very supported in making that buying decision. And I even had ads that would go to people that hit the sales page and didn't buy. And I would run an ad to them, kind of putting on my coaching hat saying, hey, I totally get it. This is a big decision. I'm right there with you. It can be scary to make a decision like this. Let's talk about how you can never make a decision from fear again in your life and be bold in your decision making process. Whether this program is right for you or not, I want to help you be empowered and confident right now. And if we do that, there's a good chance you're probably going to want to buy this program because it's kind of a no-brainer, honestly. So I was coaching them right from the get-go on their mindset. For people that didn't buy, I was throwing ads out there saying, okay, let's start some coaching for you. Why aren't you buying this? Are you crazy? Not like that, but you know what I mean, right? Like immediately starting to work on their mindset and getting them to expand their thinking and be more positive and confident and prosperity oriented. So this is why Facebook is an amazing, amazing platform, you guys, because we can do so many innovative things. We can market on a very deep level that's genuine and sincere, where the average person is going to look at it and say, that feels really good to me. It doesn't feel salesy. I don't feel like I'm being coerced into something that doesn't feel very natural to me, So that was my presentation in a nutshell for you guys. That's what I wanted to share in this initial video case study. And really, I wanted to show this to you just to give you a quick sense that you can do this too. I'm not a guru. Like, I'm not like some big internet marketing guy that has this enormous following and all these joint venture partners. That's not really my thing. I'm actually pretty introverted. I'm a normal guy. I have 2 kids. I play a lot of tennis. I live a normal life. And, I have some talent, definitely, for what I'm talking about here in terms of my ability to communicate my message and run ads really well on Facebook and set up funnels. But that's a skill that I can help you develop, okay? I've spent the last 12, 13 years developing that myself on a very intensive level. And that's why I can generate results like this. But what I can do for you is really expedite this process so I can help you get these elements in place so much faster than you could do on your own. So if you're somebody that's kind of sitting back, like looking at all the noise on social media and saying like, my gosh, where do I even fit into this? How do I incorporate all these social media sites? How do I learn Facebook ads in a way that isn't just going to make me pull my hair out and make me go insane? Because that can definitely happen. And that's another thing I should have said here. I didn't use Power Editor at all for my ads. My ads are very, very simple in terms of their setup and the ease of administration. Very basic, and anybody can do it. No technical skills required. So yeah, if you get overwhelmed with technology sometimes, if all of this just kind of makes you stir crazy, but at the same time, you're like, man, I know this is my thing, and I have potential. I have a huge vision that I want to share with the world, and I know I can monetize that vision. And maybe you've already tasted some partial success with that. I can totally help you with this. And I say that with utter confidence because I really feel like most of the time in my business, to be very honest, I've been my own worst enemy. If anybody has stood in my way, it's been me. And if I can do what I've done here, taking the skill set and the mindset that I have in place, I can totally teach you how to do this too. So hopefully that resonates and it makes sense to you. I'm really, really passionate about this model, and it is one of the most unique and powerful models we all have access to that can literally set us free in business, in life, in a fraction of the time that it would normally take. If you can think about making 6 figures in 7 to 10 days, what would that mean for your lifestyle, right? And of course, I can't, promise that exact result, but I do believe it's a very accessible possibility for anyone who puts in the work, who is motivated, who is empowered, who doesn't make excuses, and who has a great product or service to offer that can genuinely help people. If that's you, all I'm going to ask you to do right now is stay in touch and look for future videos from me. I'll probably be shooting you another email tomorrow, and we'll stay in touch on Facebook. And in the near future, I'm going to be offering a new program that's going to help you with all of this. So I want you to have a structure in place here in this exact way where you have the opportunity to do a six-figure launch in a 10-day period using just Facebook ads. So I'd love to help you do that. Let's just stay in touch. I'll shoot you some more training, and we'll leave it at that for now. So once again, this is Kevin Doherty. You can like my page at facebook.com/Kevin Doherty online. Would love to connect with you there. And I look forward to connecting with you tomorrow. Hope this has been really helpful, and I will talk with you then. All the best.